Yeah. Or stream it live.
And more big things can come out of Rusea. So there we are.
Good evening and welcome to everyone to another great evening of the Rusea's Brosis Empowerment Series. Tonight, we are privileged to have with us our own president, Mr. Troy Malcolm. Mr. Malcolm, glad to see you. It's been a while that we have not linked like this. It's a joy to have you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. D, and thanks for having me and to our viewers around the world. This is Rusea's Brosis, Rusea's Brothers Foundation, Inc. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And joining us is one of our most distinguished graduates of Rusea's High School, the one and only Mr. Glenford Hall. But for those who are in the know, who have any clue as to the history of Rusea's over the last 50 years, they may not know Mr. Glenford Hall by that name, but they will all know the great Yackee, one of the greatest link players of Rusea's High School, who has stamped his mark on our soccer forever. Mr. Hall, glad to have you with us, sir.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Wonderful.
Thanks for having me on this platform. I'm honored to be a part of the foundation. I just want to encourage all the Ruseans to participate in the wonderful work that you guys are doing.
Excellent, excellent. Just from the get-go, I want you to know that this is a fun evening. This is a celebration. What does that mean? Tonight is your night. We're saying to you, Mr. Hall, that we appreciate you. We admire and we celebrate your journey. And part of this forum is to recognize and to cheer you for what you have done, what you have contributed to humanity, to society, and to the Rusea's character and reputation at large. But also would like to use your journey as an opportunity to inspire those who are yet to find their way. And I'm very big on that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoy being an educator. I enjoy being a teacher, because every single day I have a chance to tell somebody there is a better way. So two things we're looking to come out of this. You knowing that we are proud of you, we're excited about you, and we're glad for what you have done. And then also to hope that the ones coming after us can look at what you have done and say, wait a minute, there's hope for me. I can make some changes and I can achieve some things. So we're gonna chill, we're gonna relax, and just keep it real. And if there's something that I miss, or if there's something that Mr. President missed, feel free to share it, to jump right in and share it, because this is your night. How about that? Is that something that you could work with? You're muted. You're muted, Mr. Hall. You're muted.
No, I'm not.
Okay, now you're back.
Okay. So I said that was a great segue because I'm a big supporter of and believer of helping individuals to grow, because I receive numerous help from individuals who just by passing didn't know me from Adams, as they say. So that was a great segue. Beautiful.
Mr. President, you wanted to lay out the foundation for us as to where we're going, because we have not met for quite some time. So this is a renewal for the next phase in our journey as a foundation.
And I just want to say on behalf of the Rusea's Brothers Sisters Foundation, Inc., Mr. Hall, I want to say a big welcome to you. I've known you for many, many years, and you're one of the greats that passed through Rusea's High School. And guys like Glasgow Corey Brivitt, St. Ryan Steele, Dennis Jump, those guys, you set the tone and the bar for those guys. Now, you know, fast forward several years ago, the likes of Donald Hewitt, Andrew Pelican Lewis, you know, Leroy Foster, just to name a few. You paved the way for those guys. And we're going to go into those segments because you were an inspiration to us back then, and you're an inspiration to us now. So, Mr. Dunkley, take it away, and then we take it. You know, we have a nice evening lineup.
Yeah. Yes, I like what you just said. I love what you just said, Mr. President, because I happen to know Yackee from early 70s. Let me be real, from 1971. So for those who know numbers, from 1971 to now is a whole heap of years. That's what, 51 years. Okay, that I've known you. It's a lifetime. Yeah, man. And I want to let you know that you have not changed. Your presence speaks without you even saying a word. And that's how you were then. And even talking with you Sunday, when we were on the phone Sunday, it was like, for me, it was like a wow. It's like a wow, because I want to say to you as a brother that I admired the way your journey was, the way you walked. And as you and I talked on Sunday, I mean, over 2 hours, I realized how much you and I have in common. I mean, I'm not going to brag, but for people like Mr. Malcolm who do not know that you and I played on the same team, I just want to put it out there so they know that they just came. We have been there before them. But I did that, Mr. President. Just want to put that out there early. But since I don't want to talk about me, I want to talk about Mr. Hall. But I just had to put it. I just want to put it out there that
you're just as
left
great.
and the right. You can ask which one you want. You can put in your request, left foot or right foot. Just want to let you know.
Mr. Dunkley, you're just as great as we are.
So back to you, Mr. Hall. You know, many of us start from somewhere, and you will hear me, as long as you hear me speak, you will hear me talk about my definition of success. My definition of success is not the end or the accomplishment, but the journey through which you get there. In other words, I use an example. For me, to graduate from high school was a big achievement. For my children to graduate from high school is not even a start yet, because that is expected and all the preparation was made for that to happen. My journey was not like that. You get it? I had to climb many mountains, cross many rivers in order to get there. And even speaking with you, I realized that you and I shared that type of journey. So I want to take you back. I recognize after talking with you that you have quite a number of siblings. As a matter of fact, you were the second born, am I correct? In your mother's children, correct? Your volume went again.
I am the second of 8.
There you go. There you go. How was that? What was that like for you? How much responsibility did you experience, or how much pressure did that put on you? Or did you actually take that as a responsibility at all when you were younger? What was that like for you, being in such, with having so many brothers and sisters? What was it like for you as a kid? Say, going back before you were, say, 10. What was that like for you?
Well, living in a household, single mother with 8 kids, the second in line, you could not shy away from the responsibilities. You help to cook, you help to do whatever is needed while your mom hustle.
Yes, yes.
So it's almost so in essence what we were talking about here is someone coming out of poverty and trying to erase that. So that kind of sums it up in terms of being a youth around a big family. And the second in line means that you have to grow up very fast, pretty much.
Wow. And when you speak of growing up, where did you grow up?
So I was born in Sandy Bay. Within Sandy Bay, you have little what you call district. So I actually grew up in Barbican, which is the what you call the west of Sandy Bay. So if anyone knowing Kenilworth,
Yes.
that turn off to go to that vocation center, that's that area on the beach there is where I grew up.
There's a bridge right there, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yes,
so I spent quite a number of years there, up to, I would say, young adulthood.
Got it. Just want to put it out there. For me, when I hear a man say that I grew up with a single mom, single parent, that's my street. You're right on my street. And I'll say this right up. I'm so proud of my mom for being a champion, for standing by and being that rock, never giving up. And look at us now. Look at us now.
Mothers are amazing. I don't know where to get the strength and the can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know where the mothers, single mothers get their strength and endurance, but they are to be lauded for raising individual like myself and you.
Beautiful. Mr. Malcolm, talking about mothers, I remember talking with you recently and you were making a special meal for your mom. What is that like? What's that relationship like?
As a matter of fact, it's so funny that all 3 of us right now have been through similar paths, and it's amazing to have a mother that who cherish their siblings, and it's words can't explain, and as I tell you before that there's nothing that I wouldn't do for my mom, so and I know Yackee feel the same way, you feel the same way. And most people out there, because actually when you see your mother struggling with 4 of us at times, and just to make that sacrifice, and to us, we never feel like we had nothing that we couldn't achieve, and that's the beauty of it all. But I walk that same path as what you're saying, and it's amazing, and we cherish our mom tremendously, because actually Sunday, I was in the kitchen and Mr. Dunkley called, and Mr. Dunkley said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Listen, mom is here, so I'm cooking up a meal." So those are the things that we do, So back to you, Mr. Hall.
Mm-hmm. It's even preparing a meal is great, but I don't think we can earn enough by way of monetarily or even in respect to pay them back. It's just, as you say, the love for your mother. It's something that it's difficult to describe or even to put in words.
Beautiful. I wanna even introduce him as we're speaking that there are certain qualities, those of us who accept that reality and say, this is what I got, this is the hand that I've been dealt, accept it and appreciate it and worked with it. I think it has made a difference in even who we are. And I think the spirit of service, the desire to help somebody, when it says reach out and touch somebody's hand, make this world a better place if you can. I think deep inside of us, there's something where there's compassion for the suffering of another human being, because we can see ourselves, that could have been me, or that was me. And I think it's all that keep us balanced and help us to want to make a difference. What do you think?
When you grow up under that condition, then it becomes a blueprint for you, pretty much, because in reflection you have seen the worst, and you know where you're coming from. So when you encounter individuals who you see with similar situation, then the blueprint in you just come out and say, you know, I have to help this individual, whether by way of you know, a few words of encouragement, monetarily or whatever the needs may be.
Beautiful, so true. So let's talk about your journey, because you have accomplished a lot professionally, academically, and otherwise. You have been a businessman. You have done many different things. You have held many responsible positions. But prior to coming to school in Lucy, I deliberately said coming to school in Lucy, what was your academic journey like with eight, you know, with 7 siblings and yourself and a single mom? I know money must have been rough. So I can understand that sometimes school could have been not even an option, but you had shared something to me about what happened on a Friday based on how you were and what was going on in your life. Talk to me about your Fridays.
Okay, so all age school, the Sanabia all age school is where I started. And I wasn't educationally mature. And that's a fancy word for saying that I was dunce. So I can't
let it pass. As a teacher, I can't let you pass for that. What you really meant is that you weren't ready.
Yes, I wasn't. I wasn't ready.
So Malcolm, I know you can talk to that. There was a point in time when you weren't ready, and look at you now.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
We walk similar path.
So there's no dunce. There's no dunce. It's just that circumstances were such that it didn't kick in yet. But it did.
It did. Finally.
When somebody's dunce, they never passed that. That never changed.
That is correct.
But you were not ready. You were not ready.
That's a better way of saying it. So I stayed there until I was.
Your volume cut out. Mr. Hall, your volume cut out again.
No, probably
yes,
my internet.
We got it.
Okay,
we got it.
Yeah.
Got it, yes. Go ahead.
So on a Friday, I would.
No, you said you stayed there until, the last thing we heard is that 11, you stayed there in
age 11.
11, good.
11.
Good.
But I was going back to the Fridays that you mentioned, that I play sick most Fridays to go swimming because I was on the beach. So water was always around me. So I played sick until the hour of school in the morning passed. So I know that they wouldn't send me, after that. So I kind of grew up not paying much attention in the early years about education because, my family structure, home structure wasn't the driving force. So I remember in 1971, I was asked to take entrance exam to attend the junior secondary school that was built during that time. Because as one can remember, the only high school in the parish was Rusea's High School. So if you didn't go there through the common entrance, then pretty much high school would be out for you. You would stay in the all-age school until such time.
Right.
So that gave me an opportunity to re-examine, and so I could move on to the Rusea's High School. So the junior secondary school was the kind of pivot time for me to try to get mature, or when the educational part kicks in. So I sat the exam. I did very well, surprisingly, and So I went there in 71.
Yes.
I started in 71. I was placed in 78, and that changes my life forever, because I was in a class where I see the Ruseas, well, one Ruseas, Marcy Ruseas. I see
Yes.
people who didn't look like me, people
Mm.
who did not have financial issues like me, and we were in the same class, rubbing
Wow.
shoulders.
Wow.
So that kind of prompted me and set off a light bulb that if I'm here now and I'm seeing these people who get dropped off at school in the morning, they're going to motor vehicle, then I can do this.
Wow.
And that's
Wow.
where the motivation from an educational standpoint started.
So before you go any further, I just want to inject right here. So for those of our viewers, those who have the privilege of hearing this interview, watching this interview, what I want to highlight here is that depending on what is happening in our homes, in our lives, at certain point in time, oftentimes our priorities are shifted because of those circumstances, because we are a product of our environment. You mentioned that education was not the thing. Truthfully, if mom is there trying to find money to even put bread on the table, the last thing she needs to be worrying about is books and pencils and lunch money and all that, because that's the money don't reach that far. So I understand. And of course, as a kid, every kid wants to have fun.
Of course.
So you work the system based on what you saw at the time. But then for those who do not know, now we talk about Ruseas and we think of one school, two campuses. But back in the days, there were two distinct schools and they had two different functions. Because Hanover Secondary created that vocational aspect, which honestly, I really believe that it played a major role in our economy. And I wish that comprehensive concept of us having vocational opportunities, that we really reintroduce those and make sure that we build a vibrant vocational system. So those who are not academically inclined, and even those who are academically inclined, could find themselves excited about a trade and use that and become an inventor, a big businessman or businesswoman. So I wish people remember that, because it has produced a lot of big business owners, and many people don't talk about Hanover Secondary. And I'm glad when I spoke with you, you told me that that's where your academic journey changed. That's where it was transformed. So I want to big up all the educators who worked in that system that impacted somebody like you, Mr. Hall.
Right.
You know, and at this point in time, if there's any particular, you know, we don't like to call names, but truthfully, sometimes there are individuals who actually stand out in our mind that we can't help but honor those people, because they were upfront and personal in that journey. While you were at Hanover Secondary, is there anybody who helped you in that turn in your journey?
Yes, actually, two individuals that I can recall. When I got to, well, the seventh grade was kind of new to me, so you know, I wasn't socializing too much. When I got to the eighth grade, when I started playing soccer, I started getting involved with sports, you know, specifically soccer. Then I think a few people saw some potential in me, and the conversation started. One individual is what we call this lady, the teacher, Rebecca Gilpin. She's now gone. She was our Spanish teacher, and my form teacher.
Got it.
When I got to eighth grade, she actually was the individual who inspired me day by day to say, you can do this. So she understood my background, and because we would talk a lot. And then you know, she guided me throughout. As a matter of fact, up to today, we spoke.
Nice.
She has never left me from grade.
Wow.
So she was very instrumental in keeping me on the right path.
Wow. Wow. That's worth gold. That's more than gold. That's diamond.
And then
That's big.
there's a young man, his name is Ian Rhodes. I think Ian, one of the Rhodes, he actually did sixth form, and then he came down to the junior secondary
To
to
work.
teach.
Wow.
And he was a Rastafarian then, and
Yes.
and you know, I always look to them for some guidance, and
Yeah.
he also helped me to stay on that
Nice.
positive.
Nice.
path.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So talking about soccer, you said that skill, you know, you came to the attention of quite a few people, but were you actively engaged in soccer prior to and over secondary?
Yes, but
Okay.
for a short period.
Okay.
Is a cousin of mine who had attended the junior secondary school a year before. He brought home the game.
Oh,
So that's where we started kicking and, you know, surface all over the place.
what's
So
the name? Maybe I might know. What's the name?
Orville Smith.
Or Orville Smith. Okay.
Yeah. So he went to Malcolm I's primary school.
Got
and
it.
then get transferred down there. So
Got it.
he was one of the first in my community that was actually going to Lucy to school. So
Got
he
it.
brought back the game, and that's where we started playing in the community. Mark you in Sandy Bay proper, there was a developed team and everything, because that's
Oh,
where you would find Elvis Miller, who, you know, develop his craft.
oh yes.
Because
Oh yes. Swelly.
we live outside of the town, so to speak. Then we just gather, and this cousin of mine actually taught me the game.
Got you.
I
Got
knew a
you.
little about it, but not in a proficient way, you know.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And those who do not know, for athletic events, Hanover Secondary and Russey's did a joint venture. Am I
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And that's how you and I got to play together.
Correct.
The junior course.
So
Yes.
when I started in the 8th grade, start playing, then, you know, I got selected for the polls, the junior polls, and then at a later stage, before I actually got to Russey's, I was part of the Russey's Lancaster team.
Can you imagine? That's crazy. From an over secondary, you're playing for the varsity team. That's huge.
And that was just part of the journey, because I played for Sandy Bay club as well, and then played for Hanover, the Hanover Parish team.
Wow. So let me ask you, this recognition that you got in terms of your skill in sports, do you think there's any correlation? Do you think it actually impacted your desire academically to do some things differently? Do you think that now that you're getting positive reinforcement, see if I'm going somewhere, you now being introduced to, say, for example, the #1 team for Russey's, even while you're in Hanover Secondary, do you think it created some level of motivation in you on that academic journey? Talk to me. I'm not sure. I'm just wondering.
It did. It opens a lot of doors for me in terms of influence and connection.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
But given my background and
your internet went out just now. It's still out. Okay, it's
can
back.
you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Bear with me, because, you know, these things act up sometimes.
That's what I'll do. I'll just raise my hand if you turn it. I'll just raise my hand.
Okay, great.
Good.
So I was always bent on academics, because even though I'm playing well, and if you were a good athlete, there's your path to Russey's High would be almost set. And my belief was that I am not going to Russey's through sports.
Got you.
Going there through academics. I must pass this 9th grade achievement test.
Beautiful,
So
beautiful.
I have the option of getting more involved with the game and neglect my schoolwork, but I just believe that I should have gone there based on my academic performance and not just sports. So I did both, and I dedicated just as much energy in the soccer as I do in my academics.
Beautiful. Mr. Malcolm, you wanted to jump in on any of this, because that you see that transition, you see that wrestling between the sports and the academic and all that. You see certain things the engine start to turn.
Yeah.
You want to jump in at any point here?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and the viewers that's out there, we're speaking with Mr. Glenford Yackee Hall, legend Russian, midfield general back in the 70s, played with the likes of Ozzy Pitta, Horace Doneyball Samuels, Swelly Miller, Sheridan Samuels, just to name a few.
So, Desmond Dunkley, don't forget that.
So just stay tuned. Also Bargy, the Reed brothers, Bargy and Dewey. Yeah, so they were there with this legendary midfielder general as Mr. Glenford Hall. Mr. Hall, you're talking. Let's go back to 1973. 1973.
Okay.
Who was your coach then?
1973. Well, I tell you what. I did not get to Rusea's until 74.
Okay.
So prior to that, we had some expats.
Mr. Miller or Mr. Breeze, one of the
Mr. Mills, Mr. Breeze. So they were in charge of the courts and the junior courts. So I was exposed to their teaching.
British style.
British standard, right.
Yes.
And I think there was a gentleman by the name of Huddle. What I can remember for him, he was a great header.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
So
they were good at heading.
Those two individuals were the kind of the coach that I was exposed to, because we didn't have a coach at the junior secondary school, because once they identify you as a good player, soccer player, then you get drafted into the junior courts and the courts, and that's where the coaching started. So that initially those were the two individuals that actually my coaching tutorage came from.
So quick question right here now. So now that you're at Hanover Secondary and you're starting to shift gear from being the kid who just want to have fun, chill at the beach and ray. Did you lose any friends in that process? Did you find did you struggle at all in terms of balancing your social life with the new responsibilities that you took on, both in terms of your sports and also your academic ambition? How was that transition for you?
I didn't actually. I gained more friends.
Okay.
Rather than losing.
Tell me about that.
Because again, you have to go back from where you started.
Yes.
The responsibility of siblings, many siblings below you. There were times when I had to leave after practice to get home to take care of the others.
Got it.
So I didn't have much free time on my hands, so to speak.
Yes.
So it's schoolwork, soccer, home, help the family. So I think I gained more friends during that period rather than losing them.
Okay.
As we all know, you become a notable soccer player. Everybody is
for real.
So and I gained great friends that are my friends up to today. And I can name Elvis Swelly Miller. We were like twins.
Yes.
Anywhere I go in the world and they recognize me and they said, "What happened to your friend?" And I said, "Swelly."
Yeah,
and if you ask Swelly the same question, it's the same.
Beautiful.
So I gained more friends than losing.
Beautiful. Now, Mr. President, You might want to talk some more about that, that soccer exploit, because I want to go back to the academic part of it. So you want to address some of the highlights of his soccer journey, and then I'm going to shift gear into the other part of his journey.
Yes, so we're going to bring back some memories here with Mr. Yackee Hall and in regards to the 70s. And, you know, it was prior to that, but, you know, his generation kind of started to transform the football fraternity at Rusea's High School. You know, most of my colleagues or my teammates are who myself and Mr. Henry and Anthony Follis Williams coach, they probably think that it all started from them or from us. But no, these players, they were the ones that paved the way back then for us to start to see the limelight or reap the reward as we speak now. Now, Yackee, let's go back. All right, so at the time when you were playing, because a lot of people think that, you know, probably Ozzy Pitta was the first Rastafarian to play for Rusea, right? So who was the first Rastafari to see came to Rusea at the time when you were there?
There's a young man by the name of Stan Berry.
From Montego Bay.
From Montego Bay. But he came in the era with Mr. Steve Buckner, but he was not drafting by way of just his football skills. He academically was there. So he actually came to Rusea's to actually do sixth form work. Prior to him, there was Ray Gonzalez, but he didn't stay. I don't know the background of what took place, but he was the first Rastafarian that actually came into the school as an individual. I mean, the whole Rasta thing, as you know, in the 70s would develop then and mushroomed. So Ray came in, but Ray didn't play for us. And then Stanberry came in. So those are the two Rastafari that came in. One just didn't make the team because he didn't stay long enough, and Stanberry came in.
Okay. When did you cross paths with you and Mr. Steve Gabby Button?
Steve, if memory serves me right, I think Steve came in 76. And if anyone on the platform, you can correct me on that, but I think he came in 1976. And while we are at this, I just want to mention that a lot of people I heard talking about in 1970, 80, great team, and all the teams that followed were great. But 1977 team was the first team that actually took Rusea's out of their zone. Now, not many people speak about that because we beat Cornwall at Cornwall easily.
Wow, that's big.
and then we won our group, and then move on to play the winner of the other group, which was Stets at the time. So when we played Stets, that was the first time we were actually coming out of our group. And then the following year, we got even further. And the following year, then we win, that was like 79. Not 79. Yeah, I think 79 we won the Lancaster Cup. If Troy, you can attest to that.
Yes. Hold your thoughts for a second here, because we're going to the meat of the whole thing. But just to let you guys know that Rusea's Brothers Sisters Foundation Inc., in association with Mark Boss, presents Halloween Masquerade Party. Saturday, October the 29th, donation $25 at 14th Parish, 523 South Fulton Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York. So please come out and support. It's for a worthy cause. We're trying to build a state-of-the-art changing room facility at Rusea's High School. So please come out and support. It's Saturday, October 29th. Donation $25. Okay, Mr. Hall, let's get back down to some nitty-gritty right here. All right. Okay. So maybe some of those players from that team, that 1977 team, that played with you.
I'm sorry?
Name me some of those players from 1977 team that played with you.
Okay. Actually, I have them written down here so I wouldn't miss anyone. So skipper Elvis Swelly Miller, Horace Samuels, Sheridan Samuels, Weston Hilton, Reginald Crew, Hasman Jackson, Stephen Thompson, Zarbol, that is, Hazzy Peter, Norman Reed, Ross Livingston, Paul Chambers was the old keeper, Alric Horton, Garnet Hall, Ross Livingston. Well, I called him already. Byron Livingston was there as well as most times substitute, and myself. Those were the players on the 1977 team.
And to be honest with you, that's a tough team.
Mhm.
Tough, solid team. Anyone that watched football back in the days and know any one of you guys. Tough team.
That is so true. Before we go any further, I just want to say, Mr. Hall, we have the great Deani DB. DB is on, giving us, cheers. Mr. Connell is on, all the way from Chicago, and Mr. Lloyd Campbell, reaching all the way from England, isn't that so?
Yeah.
Yes. It's the Blessed Love Kings and Queens, okay? And we have Carlene Stewart, giving us a shout out. So we have a few visitors a few of our guests online that are just writing in and just giving us a shout out. Just want to put that out there.
We also have Dewey Park online, and we also have Patricia Telwell and Colin Morris as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. So everyone again want to feel free, those who are listening in, feel free to chime in as you recall some of the great things. I know Ms. Telwell have some things that she could bring also. So anyone, just feel free, Mr. Connell, all of you guys. Okay, good. So keep running now, Mr. President. Go ahead.
Who was your biggest, okay, what type of coach Mr. Steve Butner was?
Awesome. Great. All the adjectives that would make one legendary is what I ascribe to Mr. B.
Nice.
And the reason why I said that, the first time, well, not the first time, because he started us in 1976, but 77, I saw the greatness that came out of him. We didn't have much forward, upfront players. So he came with this formation, 4-4-2. And when Mr. B mentioned that, after practice, and I went over to him and I asked him, what kind of crap is this? because remember now, we are coming from a background of a British form of play. So you have two wingers, you have two inner forward, and then you feed the wings, and that's how we know it. So Mr. B at the time brought in more of a tactical kind of football. So whatever talents you have, you utilize it to the best formation. So we were not too much into the long football anymore. At that point in time, it was touch, and possession. So as the season progresses, I realized it was working because his instruction to me as the midfield link well, I played behind the three. So I wasn't too much of an attacking player. So I play, you have Dewey and the other three linkmen before me.
Mm.
So they are given the opportunity to move forward while I anchor the link. But because of my skill set of dribble and can read the game very well, my instruction is that when you get the ball, you split the defense of our opponent, and all Sheridan Samuel had to do was to run that ball down and kick it in the net. Because it's well placed that the defense would be off guard. He said, if you can do that, play the ball to Hazipita. And I've never, all my football career, I've never seen anyone as confident as Hazipita. If a zillion opponent is around him and you play the ball into his chest, which
he's gonna move with it.
Yeah, he's dismissing everyone. So we with that strategy, we were able to come through our group by beating Cornwall easily, and all the others, because Cornwall was always our strongest rival. So Mr. B is a legendary coach in terms of he's a strategist, and Troy can attest to that because he has seen many years of Mr. B. So yeah, Mr. B is one of the greatest. The only other coach that I've actually have some short playing period with is Chong Fa. Chong Fa, Mr. B's one of the two greatest coaches during that period that ever come out of Jamaica.
Wow. Well said.
Yes. And remember now, I haven't say anything about Mr. Henry because his winning streak was legendary as such. But
yes.
It's a different era.
Yes. Love it. You took us to school just now, Mr. Hall.
Yeah.
You took us to school. I love it.
That's what age brings.
Yeah.
Who influenced you the most in your time at Rusea's while playing, and even after you completed playing football at Rusea's High School?
Well, you mean influence me in terms of football or just
academia?
Everything?
Yeah.
I didn't get that. You said.
Yeah, both football and academia wise.
All right, so let me address the football side of it. As a kid in ninth grade, which at the time I was playing for Rusea's, but I was still in junior secondary. I was privileged enough to play with Mr. Henry and a young man by the name of Tucker.
Alvin Tucker.
Dr.
Alvin Tucker.
I might not know those individuals. Well,
I've heard about the name, but I don't know Tucker. But
yeah. So those two have influenced me to craft how I play soccer. So Mr. Henry, great defender of the football.
Yes.
When he gets the football, you have to be very good to take it from him.
Yes.
So I learned that from him. Now, Alvin Tucker is more crafty.
Yes, on the wing.
He reads the game very well.
Yes.
So I kind of combine both because Tucker wasn't a dribbler. I was a dribbler because he was very tall. But if you give him the ball, he reads it very well and split the defense with just one play. So by going by Rusea's at that time and playing, because during the summer period when Huey was out and Mr. Henry would come home, even with Mr. Miller, PZ, I mean, I didn't have his play, but I was given that opportunity to play with these old Rusea at that time. So my game as a footballer was crafted by watching Mr. Henry play and Alvin Tucker. They were the two greatest influence on my way I played. Academically, a lot of people, because you're a sufferer. You know, you come to school, they see that you have the potential. And I just gave you Sunday when we spoke. I can mention Glenford Nelson. I can mention Sharon Donaldson. And I told you she influenced me so much to move on to advanced studies, doing geography. And I called her the other day, and she couldn't remember who I was or who I am. And that was kind of disappointed, but you know, many years have passed. So, you know, I'll give her another chance to kind of call her up and see how we can mend that fence. Yeah, right. But those two individuals and others, but in terms of significantly influence my academic path, I would attribute that to those two individuals.
I just want to jump in there, Mr. President. Okay. For those who do not know, at the time when Ms. Sharon Donaldson impacted Mr. Hall's life, she had not even been to college yet. She had finished A-levels and was teaching.
As a matter of fact, both of them.
Both of them?
Both of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and they just did A-level and came back.
Can you imagine that? That's just to show you that it's not about the age or the certificates that you have. You can have influence anywhere in your journey. You can have that impact. And Mr. Hall took the time on Sunday to explain to me a career that he was inspired to pursue, but because of finances, he did not get the opportunity to pursue that career. His first love. You would never, Mr. Malcolm, you'd never imagine, because I've never seen or heard anyone from the streets like myself with such a thought, because there's nothing in our journey that could give us that ambition. Mr. Hall, what was your original career path that you desired? Circumstances were not such.
Yeah, I wanted to become a meteorologist.
Yeah, that Mr. President, you hear that?
Yeah, one of my strongest subjects in school was geography. I did it very, very well.
And that's what Miss Donaldson taught. Miss Sharon Donaldson, that's what she taught him.
She was very influential in that.
Big,
she taught me in, I think, 4th and 5th form. And then at advanced level, you know, Mr. Miller was the general for that. and we developed a close relationship as a result of doing 6th form geography. So that was my first career inspiration. But you know, financially, I couldn't have achieved it then. So it just fell by the wayside. You know, unfortunately.
Oh, Mr. Hall, who was the principal at the time when you were going to Rusea's?
I actually, okay, Rusea's junior sec. I think when I got there, I got the last of Mr. Newport.
Yes, yes.
You know, and after him, then came Mr. White.
73.
Yeah, and then I think I did a year or two with Miss Magnus.
Magnus, okay.
Miss Magnus, yeah. But she loved that. She loved the ball game. I've never seen a principal so passionate about football. Miss Magnus.
Yeah. I think it started from her. She kind of transformed the entire soccer program at Rusea's High School, because she was there at every single match.
Every single match.
Wow, wow. So
just to let you know, your midfield general is online. Mr. Reed Dewey.
Wow.
Wow. Mrs. Henry is also online. Our Vice President, Mr. Nowen Phillips, is also online as well.
Nice, nice. How come I'm not seeing them from my thing here? Oh, I'm going.
We're on Facebook Live as well. So.
Oh, Facebook. Okay, I'm not on book. So, Mr. Hall, I have to infuse this question because you and I share a lot of commonalities. How did the finances at home influence what happened after A levels? Because many students who went to sixth form automatically transitioned to college. I don't know if you know, but I did sixth form also, and I did not go straight to college because at 15 years old, I started to support single mom. I started to support home financially, 15 years old. How did the finances at home impact what happened immediately after sixth form for you?
It's interesting how we can speak of finances now. But back then, finance in the household didn't even exist. It's just mere
survival.
Yeah, it was survival. So just like you, I didn't move on because there were no financial support to do that. So I remember after sixth form, I was sitting on my veranda, and there was a gentleman that actually he spent all his life watching me play, and he worked at Trial Golf and Beach Club, but he was from the same Barbican district, so he would come, he would leave work lunchtime and go look for his mom, just a little, probably quarter mile away from my house. And then he passed one day and saw me and asked me, what are you doing home? I told him I finished school and I'm looking for a job. Mark you, at that time, there were quite a few clubs came to my house to recruit. I remember Reno came. There's a team in St. Anne's, Brazil. I don't know if that team's still functioning. And I refused. I refused because I have gone and played them and spent some times around them and realized that lifestyle wasn't my kind of lifestyle. So I refused their offer. So he said to me, you know that I pass here every day. I said, yeah. He said, get dressed the following day and come out, and I'm going to take you to meet someone.
Wow.
That dress, he drove me to Trial Golf and Beach Club. Went up and he opens the door of the CFO at Trial Golf and Beach Club and said, this is the gentleman I was telling you about.
My goodness.
I went in. We probably chatted for probably about half an hour. And he said, fill this paperwork out and come to work the following day. And
wow. Favor.
So that was my first job after high school, because I couldn't go to tertiary education because there was no funding for that.
So pause a second. So this man was a complete stranger, right?
Not a stranger. He spent many of his years watching me play.
Oh no, what I mean is he was not a family member.
No, it wasn't a family member.
That's what I mean. So is a community person.
He's a community person, correct.
And he stepped out of his normal routine and decided to take part in your journey. How did that make you feel?
He's my friend he comes to my house twice per week.
Nice.
Still a friend. I couldn't, if you do good for me,
yes,
you're my friend for life.
Forever. Yes. Love it.
From where I'm coming from, if someone can help me to get to my end journey, there's nothing you can do to deter me from being your friend and be committed.
Wow. Right. But do you realize, again, I told you that when I finished sixth form, I was offered the job to teach at Mobile High. Did not apply for a job. It was offered to me. Here it is in your case again. We talk about how many things you and I share in our journey. It's amazing. Someone saw you and handpicked you and put you in that place.
But if I may add, is that it's not. It also reflects your attitude and aptitude too. You know, it doesn't happen out of the blue. Someone gonna see you as someone who is willing,
okay,
who is disciplined, who is, so because people just don't recommend people like that.
Wow.
They
again,
have to
for those who are listening, then Mr. Hall, you're saying that what you do will make a difference, and how you present yourself will make a difference. And exactly. Even when you're not noticing, others are noticing you. So therefore, even for the young ones coming up, go ahead.
I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly. So that's to sum it up. I'm saying your attitude and aptitude also help to propel you, even when others are trying to help you.
Beautiful. I don't want the young ones to miss that. I don't want those coming up to miss that, because that's so critical. Sometimes we think that we are alone, not knowing that there are many people waiting to help us.
Yeah.
And we just have to show something that will make them want to do that.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
Mr. Malcolm, this is, I get very excited in these type of stuff here,
and this is beautiful, because actually, just as a young man and growing up and watching the likes of Yackee, Swelly, Danny Boy, and Samuels, Dewey, Bargy, and Sackett, and those guys, when they were in school, they carried themselves well.
Yes.
And the attire was well put together.
Yes.
They could walk off the field at any given moment and offer that job, because the manners was there. They respect the elders, and they always come to the training ground on school on time. So that's a trait that I observe for all of them, because you see, the thing is, I've learned so much from them, because actually just Paul and Yak and I was even talking about this. That same Kitty Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Donald Stevenson, been carrying Rusea's team for almost 40 years or more.
Wow.
And I remember Yackee and Swelly and Danny Boy, Dewey and Bargy, they used to pull myself and Stanford Reed in that. It was a 16, that most at that time could only fit 16 players. So with Mr. B and Mr. Henry in the front already, it could only fit, but they just pull us in, and we observe and we learn from them. So Yackee, I've never said this before, to you and the greats from before us, thank you. And we're walking in your footsteps as we speak, and your journey is similar to mine, and my journey is similar to yours, and we're going to share this moment with the audience. For those who are just joining, we're speaking with Glenford Yackee Hall, legendary midfield general from the 70s, played for Rusea's High School, and also Violet Kickers and many more, and Sandy Bay Premier League team as well. So we're going to dive into that in a little bit, okay? Yes, Mr. D.
Beautiful. I just want to say right here, Dewey, many of you would not know, but I used to buy coal from Dewey's mother. Yes, man. Yeah, man, I used to go to Dewey's house and buy coal back in the day. So that kind of take you back. Some of you don't know what that means. You might think somebody sneeze, bless you. No, it's not that man I deal with, So Dewey, big up Dewey. Big up for them years, and she always treat me real good. So glad to know that we can link on another level. Yes. So continuing this thing right here. So now you worked at Trial Golf Club, and something happened. You said you had some good friends that you made, and they were working at another institution, and they invited you to come and join them. You want to share that with us?
Yes. Actually, I started at Trial 1979. And I spent a year at Trial Golf and Beach Club. And the reason for the change, there were two friends of mine that we met in high school. Isaac Kentish and Lloyd Cameron. Unfortunately, Lloyd passed last year. They were instrumental in by way of getting me to work for, at the time it was Barclays Bank. That was before the nationalization of the bank to National Commercial Bank.
Got it.
So they told me about the opening and kind of give me an inside push. So I left Trial Golf and Beach Club after a year, exactly a year. I went to work for NCB, and I think I spent about 8 to 9 years there before I migrated.
Wow. What was that like for you, that experience in the bank? What was it like for you?
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
It's a whole different world in terms of learning, communication, service skills, and it kind of opened you to a different group of people that, for me, coming from my humble poverty life to that platform was awesome, you know, and again, the discipline and all of that and this is what soccer does to one, is it provide that teamwork and discipline. Once you have that, you pretty much can survive in most, if not all, environment that you're put in. You know,
you said something profound to me on Sunday. A lot of things. One of the things that you said is that you had difficulty accepting the commendation that people say that you were a superstar, you were a star, a midfield general and all that, because you recognize, based on the cultural influence that you had, that it was a team sport and you're only a piece of the puzzle with that cohesive force. You were only a part of it, and it's the whole that succeed, not you being a star. And you displayed that. You were never loud, you were never proud, you were just that cool, super cool. Putting can't mash hands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let me extend that.
Go ahead.
Not until I would say about 8 years ago that I recognized that I was a good football player.
Wow.
I even struggle with that now to say I was good.
No, you were good, man. Let me tell you, from the 70s, I know that.
And I'm going to tell you how that came.
Yes. We had that conversation, about. Mr. President. Yes.
When I said it to people, they laugh at me. And I said, someone as good as you didn't recognize. But I always think that for an individual, and not only for soccer, if you're part of something, you're not the something. You're only a part.
That's deep. That's so deep.
So you have to, and especially soccer is a team team effort. So when you think that you are it, then your contribution is not, from my perspective, not going to be as solid as someone who, listen, I'm not better than this man playing defense or forward. We are here to win. And so my effort, your effort is going to make us whole and succeed. Wow. I always do that. So back to 8 years ago, I was in Kings Plaza. Troy would
Brooklyn, man. Where are you with?
Brooklyn. And I saw Ali McNabb. And Ali McNabb came over, called me by name, and asked me how I was doing. Wow. I only played against Ali McNabb in 2 matches. He played for Santos during the 1970s.
That's right.
And for him to remember me, we only play the home game and away. I guess he has been looking probably during Dacaster period that, you recognize it.
You were known. You were known, Aya.
I wouldn't know that. That was the start of the time when I said, for someone like him to recognize me after playing 2 games against him, I must have been doing something good. And then the whole talk about Whitmore playing like me and all that kind of discussion came out. 1998 when they were going to World Cup. Because a friend of mine came back, two friend of mine came back and told me that they were on the way down. Remember when we played the last, there was a practice match in Miami before they went on to play World Cup, the Jamaica team. And the discussion in the airplane going down to Miami was like, who played better, Yackee or Whitmore?
Wow.
And they came and I'm like, really?
Wow.
Because I'm blown away. I wasn't even at that standard. Well, from my perspective.
Yeah.
You know, and I share another situation. When we got selected for All Lancaster in 1977, myself, Sheridan, and Swelly. And when that was Oliver who was the coach at the time. When we go for practice, there was a guy named Sweetie Smith. I don't know if Troy knows. I saw the guy dribble. Not dribble. He juggled the ball almost all day, and the ball came walking up the stand and coming. And I'm asking myself, why am I here? Why am I here? And full and behold, that this guy is bigging me up.
Wow.
You understand? So even I am intimidated by his skills and all that, but he's saying how good I am. You know, so but I've never kind of think that I'm a good footballer.
It's a real thing, Aya. It's a real thing.
You're being modest, you know, and many of us who have gone to a lot of the Russia's games will tell you you're a midfield general. Yes, you know, without that, you're a midfield general. You entertain us, but you know what? The beauty about you were so calm.
Yes.
And the demeanor was so cool.
Yes.
And that's so a lot of people might look at it, that you're a simpleton, but on that field, you're the general. So the likes of Donald Hewitt and those guys, they learn from you.
Yes.
So they heard
Mr.
about
President.
And Mr. Dunkley, I want you to go through some of these comments, but I want to ask Mr. Hall one more.
Yes.
Which defender at the time when you were playing you feared the most?
Aye.
Well, I could mention 2, but they were always on my team, so I'm not even gonna mention those 2. There is a guy that played 1977 for Stets by the name of Goff.
Okay.
His last name is Andrews. Yeah. He's someone that I not feared in the sense of that I can dismiss him, but he was just a nasty player. So he has the body, he has the height. Because remember when we played against them, it is one of the biggest team in terms of body and height.
Yes, that's
yes. So we were like Dewey and myself, almost the same height. We were like toddlers to these guys on the field, and we managed to beat them. You know, so but he was, when you see him leave the middle, coming for you, running down like all the way, watch out. Because he's coming to take you, the ball, and some spectators with him.
Mercy.
So in terms of most fear, that I would give him that title.
And if you're building a team today, give me 2 defenders that you'll say, okay, this is a must that have to be on your team.
Swelly and Danny Boy.
See that? I could have called that.
No doubt. Swelly, he reads the game blindfolded. Put it that way, he's that good. Danny boy,
Wrap
he
up.
could tall like a building. He might jump over you and hit the ball. It's as simple as that. So if I have those two behind me, I just do what I have to do up front.
There you go. There you go. Beautiful.
They would always be on my team if I had to pick a team.
I'm going to jump right in here now, and I've invited all our online guests to chime in. And Mr. Connell, glad to have you, man, and accept our condolences for the loss of your family member, and just delighted to have you as part of our audience right now. Mr. Connell taking the time to big up Dewey as one of the greatest midfielders in the 1980s, and I second that. Miss Claudette Shippey, good night, family. Welcome, Yackee. Still reminiscing on those days with Miss Magnus. Yes. Dewey, we need to go forward to Rusea's to mentor the present students. We all have the same journey. I was offered to GC Foster, but because of the same financial constraints, I could not go. See that? Mm-hmm. Yackee, barely speak. Yackee was the leader in our link quartet, for real. Mr. Connell, I was a Cornwall College fan up until the semifinals between Rusea's and Clarendon College. After that, I was fully convinced that into a Rusea's fan and was also influenced to accept a position at Rusea's. Yeah, you guys played so well that Mr. Connell had to shift gear. Yeah. And the best defender we faced was Peter Parking and Goff from Stets. Right? Ms. Dawes, great interview, enjoying it. So at this time in the discussion, Mr. Hall, I want to take you back a little bit. Your personality stands out. You were never loud. I've never heard you curse. I've never heard you raise your voice. There was a certain roots connection that you demonstrate, and even up to this day, you still portray that personality. Who are some of these men who influenced that lifestyle, that thought process, that mannerism that makes you who you are? Because I'm going to tell you straight up, you have been roots. You have been roots ever since I've known you. And you have shared with me that there were some men in your community, and even within the Lucy and over the broader Hanover family, that actually influenced you and your mannerism. Talk to us a little bit, because I use this expression, if I appear to be great, it's because I'm standing on the shoulders of many who have gone before me. Mm-hmm. And I was very proud to hear you big up these men. Share with us.
Okay, so living on the beach, pretty much a little seaport town. My early years, I was exposed to a group of men. When you grow up with a single parent, you tend to, I don't want to extend it that the street raise you, but you look for guidance outside of the house. Mm-hmm. A male figure is always important in the household. So for me, and fortunately, those years we had good people in the community. So as a fishing community, there were a group of men who traveled every year, sometimes 3 times per year, from Montego Bay to Green Island. They were fishermen, so they would drop their net, and when they get to Barbican, where I was living, they would drop their nets, and the community will go in and help them to pull the net in. Once the net is on the beach, they would take out like 3 baskets of fish. The rest was left there for the community. So we help the fishermen because we know we're going to get fish. Mm-hmm. So I am bringing home fish for the family that I don't have to pay for. Mm-hmm. So they would take the bus we're talking about the fishermen with the 3 baskets of fish. They would take it to Montego Bay, sell the fish, return, and back then they have some containers that cooking oil would come in. It's a name for it. It escaped me now.
Mm-hmm.
And they would put on like 6 to 7 of those containers, and they would cook fish, and the entire community would participate. Mind you, they get fish already, and they're coming back to eat from the fishermen. So that exposure taught me about Africa, because they were Rastafarians.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first time I'm hearing about Africa, knowing yourself, be respectful to others, and calling each other kings and queens. So I grew up with that influence, and I think that's where my humble beginning started. So I started seeing individuals as not just an individual, but more, because they speak of the brotherhood and helping each other and that kind of belief system that they have. Up to this day, people would ask me, I thought you would turn a Rasta. But I said, there's certain aspect of it that I didn't subscribe to, the smoking and the rest of stuff that, But in terms of grounding me as an individual, I think that's where that started.
Don and Dewey remind you, says cursing tin.
Cursing tin.
Cursing
exactly.
tin, yes.
Yes. So my humble and coolness and understanding of and be respectful of individuals started there.
So it take a village. So that village worked for you.
Yes.
And I want to also chip in that Scraphill, Bloodman, played a role for me, because I lived in the same house with Bloodman from 74 all the way until I started teaching at Rusea's 81. So when I went to Cornwall and taught at Mobile, whenever I came Lucy, I was in that house. I ate out of the same pot. As a matter of fact, I was the only ballad who could cook for the Rasta man. For those who don't know, I used to cook some wicked ital and still can burn. You understand? So again, I share that because we have that same personality, that same journey, that same influence. And I still have roots and cultures deep inside of me. And there are certain things I don't mess. Like even this vessel right here, I value this, because it's a gift. I have one vessel. And that's part of the roots and culture, making sure what you put inside of it is selective. So I just wanted to highlight that, because sometimes those individuals never know their impact. And even the younger ones coming up don't realize that there are certain choices in life, and we should pick and choose what we incorporate into our own journey. And if we're willing to look and to listen, we can benefit from those who have gone ahead of us. So I thank you for sharing that with us. And Mr. President, I appreciate you prompting us with the chat online. I think you have something you wanted to announce that is happening on the 25th of October.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we continue our fundraising blitz, our fundraising drive, and we on the Saturday, October 29th, we have a masquerade party. So come in your best outfit, a prize. We have a prize for the winner. It's going to be at 14 Parish, 523 South Fulton Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York. So please come and support. We need your donation and become a member. Become a member of the Brosis Foundation. We're trying to do good for Rusea's High School. Now, many of you, let me just explain briefly that what we're trying to do, the Brosis Foundation is trying to do, the Column Sports Complex. It's been there for over 30-something years. And I'm going to say this to each and everyone that's listening. there's not even a bathroom facility over there. So we, as Brosis, we're trying to change all of that. But we are saying that we're going to tackle one project at a time. So our first project is to build a state-of-the-art changing facility that includes a conference room. Why a conference room? A conference room, if corporate Jamaica, corporate America, corporate UK, corporate Canada want to utilize the facility, it's there. But they have to pay a fee to Rusea's High School to utilize the conference room. It also entails a gym. We're planning to build a 30 male and female dorm along with stands for the supporters. But as I said before, we're taking one project at a time. So that's why we're having all of these fundraising events to build that state-of-the-art sports complex. So please join us, please support. We're going to have groundbreaking December 17th of this year. That's how serious we are.
Yes.
We just started this foundation 2 years ago, 2 years. So come on board with us, join hands, and let's get this thing done, because actually it's for the kids of Rusea's High School. Now, let's divert into Mr. Hall's journey, because let's go back to your banking days. All right. You were at the bank, but little did the audience know that the bank had a soccer team as well.
Yes,
No,
most definitely.
no, this is what I want the people of Hanover, and not just Hanover. You see the crime that's going on there? They used to have a thing called Corner League. The Corner League was a staple competition in the parish, where it involves all the community teams, all the teams from in and around Lucy and Hanover area. But you know what was also important? The police department had a soccer team in the competition as well. So the kids, everybody in the area was able to come and showcase itself, but there was a lot of peace and love. And that's what we want to bring back in the parish, in Lucy, in Hanover, and in Jamaica.
Beautiful.
So, Mr. Hall, tell me exactly, while playing for the bank in the Corner League, in the Lucy Community Corner League, what that had done for you back then?
Well, actually, what it did, it in terms of skill set, well, because I had a very, very short football career, relatively, or comparatively to, say, like Danny Boy and Swelly. Because after, I think, 80, 81, I just stopped playing. And I concentrated more on my career. Playing for the bank, it was just public relation kind of thing, because I think I was probably the only one who know how to kick the ball well. But it can you imagine you go to Watson Taylor Park and the bank is playing, and you see the bank manager out there trying to play the game. It's
fun.
It's
fun.
funny, and it just helped the community development, you know, from that perspective. But in terms of skill set and that wasn't the whole idea. It's just being a part of the community and help the community gel together.
Yeah.
So we as long as we could, we participated in the Corner League.
Beautiful. I'm going to switch gear now because I'm watching the clock and it's now 10:29. So I want to switch gear and go into some things, but I want to comment on a few things here. Mr. Connell took the time to, because he's a historian. I don't know, he has a memory that is unbelievable. He said Gaff is Andrew's younger brother. He came from senior school Now Godfrey Stewart High. Miss Dawes, Dawn Dawes, the kerosene tin of fish. And it's a question. She don't know that kerosene tin is not really kerosene was in it. It's coconut oil that was in that container.
Exactly.
But you see, you have to come from real roots to know that. So I
Yeah,
remember
come from-
kerosene tin, but I never wanted to say it because I know it wasn't kerosene oil, but it was coconut oil in those big tin, rectangular
Correct.
shape. Yes. Then Dewey, say, to mention his kerosene tin they cooked in, right? Then Alan's daughter said, Mr. Yackee, me never know say you a big baller. See?
See?
glad Alan's daughter, glad to have you on. But now I want to
We
take,
also we also have Michelle Russell is on watching live as well, along with Mr. John Campbell.
John Campbell, nice, big up, Michelle Russell, John Campbell. So I want to switch gear into another zone now. Life has seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can accept the season that we're in, it often prepares us for the season to come. Mr. Hall, you have been very successful. You have accomplished a lot, especially in your professional pursuits. You know, you and your family have been very successful. And I just want to just trace a little bit your journey, because when you look at where you started and you look at where you are now, it's a wow.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Malcolm can say the same thing. We don't have to say it, we live it.
Mm-hmm.
I can say the same thing, you know, and it's not to boast, it's really to celebrate, because somebody needs to know that if you're willing to work and if you're willing to be patient, if you're willing to be honest, doors have a way of opening.
Mm-hmm.
We have a generation that is not patient. We have a generation that don't want to operate like a farmer who plants seeds and give the seeds times to germinate and the plants to grow and the fruits to come. They want it now. It's like a microwave mentality. But the three of us right here, along with many who are online, know that there are certain things that you can't rush. You have to put in the time.
Mm-hmm.
You have put in the time, and right now, of the three of us, you have retired fully. And you and I are the same age, and you have retired. So I commend you and I congratulate you. But for a moment, I want us to travel. I want to travel with you a little bit. You worked roughly 9 years in the bank, 8, 9 years in the bank, and you came to New York about 1989?
89, correct.
89, yes. And you worked with Chase Manhattan Bank? Is that where you started out when you came here?
I started out with Chase Manhattan Bank, correct.
Chase Manhattan Bank. And you started from scratch, because as always, anything outside of America is underrated and you have to prove yourself all over.
Mm-hmm.
But you actually went as far as into investment banking, didn't you? Or you pursued studies in investment banking.
Correct.
You wanna share with us a little of that, because this is from Barbican to investment banking in New York City. I mean, being exposed to investment banking is massive.
Mm-hmm.
It's massive. And you know,
Okay.
could you just share with us a part of that journey? Because
Sure. So when I migrated in 89, the only thing I knew then was banking. So, and before I continue the journey, I thank you for all those comments, those kind words. Success to me is I never see or look at myself as successful. And I'll explain why that is. Anytime I get to the level that it wants to appear as being successful, I'm nervous. Very, very nervous. Because what I did not like in my working years is become too complacent. So I would never want to lose the drive that brought me to that level, which is pretty much the same principle I used when I was playing soccer. is that
Gotcha.
you have to practice. You have to know the game. You have to. So being successful for me is that pretty much when I stop working, because now I have nothing to prove, and complacency can set in now. But I was always nervous when things are going great for me.
Can I qualify this statement? Let me qualify it.
Mhm.
Success for me and for you and for Mr. President is being in a place where you have options.
We could look at it from that angle as well.
That's my position,
Yeah.
where we have options, because there was a time when this is it.
Yeah, no safety.
Which shoes you're wearing? The one that we wear yesterday, because that's the only one I have.
The only one, yeah, yes.
Yeah, so success is, you didn't remember, say, oh, I didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
You have options.
Yeah.
You know, as a teacher, students love to ask, Mr. Dunkley, what car do you drive? Or, Mr. Dunkley, are you rich? I say, no, but I know that I'm not poor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Because we know what poor looks like.
I know, I lived it. I lived it.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I actually use my journey to inspire them, to let them know that education opened doors. And if it worked for me, it can work for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, you know, I'm not ashamed of my journey. So I want to tell you, when I use the word success, it's having options.
Options.
You're living at a place where nobody can tell you that I'm raising the rent, or nobody can evict you.
Exactly. That's options.
That was never the case. You know, as a kid, I moved multiple times, different places. So that's, I just want to qualify it. That's where that's coming from. It's being able to have options in life.
Options.
You can choose which doctor you go to. You can choose what you have for dinner.
True.
You can choose what you do next week. That's beautiful. That's powerful.
So
Many
I'll
don't
work,
have that.
I'll work with that qualification. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good.
so when I got there, I started with Chase Manhattan Bank.
Yes.
Had to start from, so imagine, and this is where ego, one should not let ego get in your way. So you leave from a position of a bank officer.
Yes.
You're signatory to the bank checks,
Mm.
to a different country where you have to start from a teller again.
Wow.
So that, to me, if I walked away from something, whatever it is, it doesn't burden me, because it's what I've done in the past, and what is coming is what I'm concentrated on.
Got
So
it.
that did not kind of deflated me in no way. So I started doing more kind of commercial banking, and by way of teleservice.
Okay.
And my supervisor, after a month, said, "You're wasting your time here." And she sent me to another branch. When I got there, they said, "I'm wasting my time there as well." Because
Wow.
I know to count money. I know this. I've done it for 8-9 years before. So it's cakewalk for me.
Yes.
So then I was sent to do retirement. I became a retirement specialist. So what I would do is kind of disseminate information regarding our customers' retirement plans. Sort of walk them through the rules and regulations when they call.
Yes.
I did, how many years I did with them? I know I left 2001, which during the same period with World Trade Center incident there. That's I left because they sold, the bank merged, and that department moved. So I didn't prepare to move, to relocate at the time, because I could have gone down to Florida. I stayed in New York, and then I did some insurance work with Prudential. And I left Prudential. I made the commitment that, listen, I'm not working for nobody else. So I went into housing, some investment in rental of houses. After that,
So wait, so you rent people houses? Is that what you did?
Yeah. I bought some houses and then
Oh, no. Oh, you
repaired
didn't rent people house. You bought some houses and fixed them up and rent
and
them.
rented them. Yes.
No, remember Barbican, we're talking about Barbican.
Yeah.
And you are renting some units, some houses.
Yes.
I'm making sure we get the, making sure my brain wrap around what we're talking about here.
So from not having a house and as a matter of fact, having 2 rooms with 8 people is
all right now.
It is.
This what I'm talking about. It's a journey.
It's a journey.
Beautiful. Self-employed.
Right.
At that point.
So after you do the repairs and you rent it out, then your duty is just to collect the rent and any repairs that need to be done. So most time I'm free. So I used to drive my wife to work. And she wasn't too pleased after the work I was doing because it seemed like I was wasting time. So she worked for Kings County Hospital, and she brought home a flyer saying that they need someone in the finance department. And I'm like, I kind of put it off for a couple of weeks because I decided I wasn't going to work for anyone. And then she insisted, and I completed the application, submitted it. And luckily, I got a call from a young man said he saw my resume and it looked impressive. So he wants to interview me. Went to the interview, and his first thing he told me, he said, I was looking through a pile of resume and he saw Rusea's high school and this resume, and he picked it out and called me.
Wow.
He said, I think he's from, he attended Dunkley High School.
Dunkley. That's what he said.
He said he was just fascinated by Rusea's high school. And that's how I got my first interview with HHC, which is the hospital corporation in New York. And he actually hired me.
Wow.
So again, Rusea's high school was the catalyst of all of that. So I stayed there for a good 15 years. So
Wow.
I became the assistant controller for the nursing home.
So stop right there. So you worked for Barclays, then NCB, then you came to New York, you worked for Chase, one of the biggest banks in the world. Then from there you went to Prudential, one of the biggest insurance companies in the world. Then you went to Kings County Hospital, and I think you mentioned that Kings County is one of the largest public hospitals in the country.
It's second to Bellevue Hospital.
Second to Bellevue as a public hospital.
Troy can chime in on that if I'm misquoting there. Yes.
Okay, and you were assistant to the CFO.
No, I haven't gone to Kings County yet. The nursing home was affiliated to Kings County.
Yeah, well, yes, you're working as part of that corporation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the point I'm trying to make is from Barbican. You remember I told you that it's not what you accomplished, but where you're coming from whence you came. So Barbican, you understand what I'm trying to say? And here you are having options where you can say, you know what, I don't want to work. And just to appease the home base, you decide, all right, please the wife, I'm good. You just look at it. You didn't have to work, but you did.
I did.
So you end up having multiple streams of income, by the way, for those who are listening. Okay? Love it. And you spent roughly 15 years in that industry.
15 years there, but before I get to the end of the 15 years, I went there December 5th, 2005. The guy who hired me who was a controller. So I went in now to assist him as the assistant controller. By the following year, April, he left.
Wow.
And I was very ambitious. I went to the CFO and told him that I I will keep the wheel turning until he gets someone. Biggest mistake I've ever made. Well, well, mistake and opportunities. So he said, all right. So there's a huge report that has to be submitted to the state. Never done it. I'm new. I'm green to hospital finances.
Right.
And I made a commitment to the CFO that, I'll keep the wheel turning, and that is part of the wheels of the commit. So I went home, take like 3 years of the reports, prior years, went into my basement, get a folded table, spread out all the paper. For about 2 months, I got about 2 hours sleep trying to learn this thing, because it has to be submitted, because the finances of the facility rest pretty much on that report.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It got so bad that I wasn't getting any sleep. My wife came out and said, if this is what you're gonna do, you better leave this job and come. And I'm saying, but you're the one who encouraged me to do this stuff. There's no turning back now. And I pulled through with some help from the corporate office, and
Sure.
and I actually he got someone, and eventually that individual became controller, and then he moved over to Kings County Hospital as the assistant CFO, and then I was given the controller's position then.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And is that where you retired from?
No, actually, there were some changes in the system whereby
Yes.
all the nursing homes
Yes.
have a separate CFO and run as a separate business from the hospitals. So I went to actually, I spent a year at Queen's Hospital as the auditor. So I do
Wow.
the general ledger, all that accounting stuff. And we were kind of top heavy up to 2017. So they lay off like a few of us in high level position. And at that time I was ready to come home. My wife wasn't ready. So I said, you know what? One morning I was going to see a friend of mine. So I was on Linden Boulevard.
Yes.
And Linden Boulevard and Rockaway. So I stopped at the light, and when I look across, I saw the
Former
assistant,
CFO.
the former, well, he was the assistant CFO, but now
Okay.
he became the CFO for Kings
Okay.
County. Saw him and he shouted at me, he's looking for me. And I said, but you have my number. And right there he told me, listen, go home, write your own description of what you want to do, and come to work on Monday. And I spent 3 years with him as the budget and assistant CFO. And
Wow.
then from
Wow.
there, I said, it's time for me to go back to beautiful Jamaica.
Nice, nice.
I would say.
Now, I'm going to pull this together, Mr. President. I just want to read some comments here and get your final thoughts together, Mr. President. Wow, I just touched this a while ago. Okay, here we go. Of course, after I messed with Miss Dawn Dawes about kerosene tin, she come back. Shame on you, Mr. Dunkley. I'm not 20, you know. So now she pretending, because she asked if we could have cooked fish in a kerosene tin. And now she's saying she know about kerosene tin and coconut oil. She does a play. Mrs. Ruth Malcolm, your journey is very impressive. She's always very calm, well-spoken, well-balanced. Okay, that's Miss Ruth Malcolm. Good. Family. You came from a large family, and you said something to me that I've never heard before. You never grew with a father figure at home. I never grew with a father figure at home. And as a result of that, I took parenting very seriously. I mean, to a fault. You mentioned another level of parenting decision that you made consciously. You said something to the effect that I said that any kid that bore my name, I want to be involved in that kid's life. Not just financial, but involved. And you said that, tell me what you told me.
Okay.
You took it to another
Yes,
level.
I took
I want you to be the one to release that.
Yeah, I took
That's
it
deep.
to a different level because of, being fatherless, quote unquote. I pledge that no kid that has my name is living outside of or live anywhere else but under my roof.
Stop right there. Stop. Let that soak in. Mr. President, I don't know if you can handle this one. You see how deep this one went?
Yes.
I said, any kid that bear my name, I need to be involved in that kid's life. Mr. Hall, Yackee Hall said, any kid that bear his name must be under the same roof that he is at. How deep is that?
Yeah.
That's deep.
Because I tell you what, when you, and you guys must have experienced this, when you don't grow with a father and you go visit a family that has both parents and you see the love that is in part and the expression, the communication that you did not have, it can only drive you to making those decisions.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Well said. Well said. Well said.
Yes, Mr. Hall. Okay. We're doing this thing for Russies, right? So what can you say to the students of Russies? No. And not the students of Russies, yes, but also to the current Dakar Cup players that's playing right now. Speak to them. Speak to them. Tell them about anything that you want to say. Is there anything that you want to say to them right now? Because now they're at that age where they're confused a lot of times. They don't know exactly which path to take. So speak to them as someone that's been there before and put them on the right path to success.
Okay, my answer is going to be twofolds. And this is for the footballers. If you have to love the game, you have to have a real deep love for the game. If you have that deep love for the game, then the extracurriculum, I shouldn't put it that way. Your academic progress would not be compromised. Because you're doing this for the love. When you do something that you love, it means that you're gonna manage all the other aspects of your life. Right? So that's one part. In our time, the distraction was less. It was like what we have now. I think they need mentorship. I discussed this offline.
You discussed that
Dunkley.
Share that with the audience as well.
I'm sorry?
No, you discussed that with me in regards to going back and doing mentorship.
Yeah. I think we have enough old students, especially soccer players, who can adapt a player and mentor them. Some of us are not on the ground, but with technology now we can reach them. I think that is needed. Whilst I came through with not that so much support from a male figure in the house, I think these youngsters they're more distracted and need help. And one way to get them to walk the walk that we did. So closer attention to their behavior, and that can only come through mentoring. I think that is paramount for the football players. The sky is the limit, and if you apply yourself, I did it. Frankly, I don't even know how I did it. I can speak of the journey, but if one was a Christian, you would say you were blessed.
Yes.
You understand? So because sometimes some things you experience, and life is a journey.
Yes.
What you experience today might be a challenge the following day. Is how you navigate and go to that. And your feet has to be on the ground. You have to be grounded and not get distracted easily. And I'm telling you, with the crop of kids that we have now, distraction is that easy. So mentoring is the key. Whatever we can do as part of this platform, and I share with Mr. Dunkley that come next year, I will be adapting a soccer player who has academic promise, and just take it from there. Expenses and mentoring would be with what I would do.
Beautiful.
The other part of it too is that what the coach of the team should be doing is bringing in some of guys like myself, Swelly, Danny Boy, Sheridan. We are on the ground. Just speak to them. You know, we're not going to discuss soccer in terms of what position they should play, what the strategy of the team should be. That's a coach responsibility.
Yes,
Our responsibility is saying, we have walked this walk. We have been successful. We have been, a model citizen.
Yes.
You can do it too.
Yes.
Irrespective of all the noise and the distraction around you. I think something like that would be a welcoming kind of start for the youngsters.
Beautiful. So go ahead, Mr. President.
And I thought that it's so good that you volunteer that information, because what we can do as Brosis, we can make that connection, right? So it's good to talk and to speak, but we like action as well. So tomorrow I'll get on the phone with that coach tomorrow and list those former players' name. So because we have to start making the connection from now. If not, we're gonna lose them pretty soon. Yeah. So we want to make that connection as soon as possible, because actually I like the mentorship program. But the thing is that myself, I grew up and see all of you guys. So you're an inspiration. So my mentor was also Mr. Henry. So so if a person sees Mr. Henry, I was by his side. By his side. So we need that togetherness. We need that mentorship. So all the kids can adopt, or we adopted as our child away from home.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for all those people who are traveling, and listen good, for all those people who are traveling, in the Christmas era, going to Jamaica, buy a soccer boots, buy a netball, buy a cricket bat. Give the school back something. Because you might think, what am I bringing one soccer boots for, or spikes for? No, because you never know. 5 more people might be taking five spikes down there.
And it's one more added
what they have before
to the inventory that they have.
Yes.
So that's the mindset. But Mr. Douglas, hold on for a second, because I have 2 more announcements.
Go ahead.
The last Tuesday of this month is Empowerment Night again, and we have another midfield general from in the 70s. His name is Peter Carrot, yeah, share.
Aye,
So
aye.
one as well. It's going to be big. All right. Don't forget the masquerade party, Saturday, October 29th at 14 Parish, 523 South Fulton Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York. Donation $25. Wear your best outfit. There's a prize for the winner.
Beautiful. As you shared your recommendations, Mr. Hall, Colin Stewart, thumbs up and, celebrate, the fact that here is another person who see the value of giving back. And I've used this expression multiple times that if you have drank from the well, make sure that there's water in the well for whoever comes after. So, she's excited to hear what you're recommending. And as we're closing, you have been blessed to be a father. If I'm not mistaken, you have 3 children. Do you want to say anything about your immediate family, your household?
Yes.
And what it means to you based on where you're coming from and what you have been blessed to create or to nurture? If you want to share that as we get to close.
Certainly. My immediate family now consists of 2 sons, 1 daughter, and my wife, who is also a Russian.
Nice, nice.
Who was also in my class.
Nice.
So the Rusea strength is strong in my household.
Beautiful.
So three kids, married for many years, and hope to keep it that way.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So the family means a lot to me, because at the end of the day, you come home to a family, and that has kept me grounded over the years. Apart from my own attributes, my wife helped to keep me in line.
Beautiful.
And the kids, again, they have a father. I was always involved in their life. I don't miss no games that they have to play, no activities. I take them everywhere. Because my wife was a nurse, well, still a nurse, and she do long hours. So I cover the grounds.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I wash here, plait here, do all the things that need to keep a family together.
Beautiful. If, as we close, if there were some names of people that you want to publicly thank for impacting your journey, the platform is yours. We're closing. But if there are any individuals that just stand out that you want to name, and I know that sometimes is difficult because you don't want to miss somebody, but if there's anybody that, that has really helped to carve out your path. Like, for example, I'm a math teacher because of Mr. Keith Bingham at Rusea's. He was my first math teacher at Rusea's. And I saw that man work. And as I sat in that classroom, my head started to spin and said, I want to do that. So if I was in the seat that you're in right now, Mr. Keith Bingham is the person that I would first and foremost big up, because he was so impactful, even without saying much directly to me. Indirectly, I saw him, I watched what he did, and I was amazed. Is there anyone that you'd like to name and thank for your journey?
Well, I'm going to stretch it a bit. Any group or anyone I associate, I try to learn from them. You see the 1977 team?
Yes.
I learned so much from those guys. We were such a close-knit soccer family that I pretty much could describe every player. They
wow.
there and
wow.
all that. And again, coming from that on the beginning, my learning is outside the house. So I pay attention. I was like an old man in a young body.
Yes, yes. I know exactly what that is.
That's so I describe it that way. There's an individual that actually changed my life. It's more than significant. I'm not going to call the name, but I'm going to tell you the circumstances.
Yes.
And
yes.
Because he might be embarrassed to even know that I repeat it.
Mm.
When I was in fourth form, I did 2 subjects. I did geography, actually 3: geography, history, and biology.
Mm.
And I was successful at those 3.
In fourth form?
In fourth form.
Wow.
So in fifth form, I wanted to do like another 5.
Yes.
And the individual came to me and said, what are you doing for the exam for GCE? And I said, I'm doing 5. So you're doing 5? I was expecting you to do like 8. I said, no, I have 3 already. Why should I do? And he said it would look more impressive on 1 certificate. So I said, it makes sense. But guess what? I don't even have the money to pay for 2 moreover 8. Well, no, I don't have the money to pay for 5 moreover. And the individual went downtown, came back with $5,000.
Wow. Wow.
And say, go pay for your exam.
Wow.
How do you repay someone like that?
You can't. You can't. That's deep. That's big. That's big. That's massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
Massive. That individual and I, we have been friends. The entire family, it's just, that's why I'm saying if I see someone that I can help, and I've been doing that. I don't even talk about the help that I did when I went to New York.
Beautiful, beautiful.
When I meet people there, they would show me with, and I'm like, give you an example before we close. I have this young man. He and I worked for Chase. He was from Canada.
Yes.
Came to New York. Family wasn't all that strong. They invited him, but they had some issues.
Yeah.
Met him at the job. We talked about Bob Marley, and he thought that he knew everything about Bob Marley until I started speaking. So from there, we became friends. He would come to the house every Sunday, have dinner with us every Sunday thereafter. So much so that my kids grew up with him, seeing him at the table every Sunday.
Nice, nice.
And when we left Chase, he went off and do some investment and did very well.
Yes.
And I helped him to establish a business and help him with some other stuff. And he said, he cannot repay me. And I said, you don't have to. Anyone that seek your help and you can help,
do the same.
Do the same. And
beautiful.
That's my repayment.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So the help that changed my entire life in terms of academia, it was, there's no value you can put to that.
You know?
And as you talk about being humble, these are the things that humble.
Yes, 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 yes. Man, listen. Gregory Isaacs have nothing over you, man. They say he's Mr. Cool. You have consistent, and I love the tone of this interview. It's real. It's real. It's on a different level, and you're just consistent. You're just that same steady. Just like when you're on the soccer field, you're steady. You're not ruffled, and you're the same. And I commend you for being consistent. And you're a role model. You are. Mr. President, I thank you for what you do and for the leadership that you perform. And just for the privilege that you have given me, that I can participate and experience this level of joy as we celebrate the legacy that Rusea has created. And you know, I have your back. You know, whatever is being done in the name of Rusea's, you know, you can just put my name on it.
And let me just jump in there before.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to also speak to Troy about the tremendous work that he has put into this organization.
Yes, yes.
I don't know how you do it, but you're doing it, and you always have my support. You know, when I was in New York and you called me for anything, trust me, I might not show up, but if it's a contribution, it's coming your way. There's a lot of organizations that want me to be very active, and I would love to, but at this time, I do more travel than anything else. But I mean, that shouldn't prevent me from joining a Zoom and contribute to any kind of conversation that there might be. But I lift my hats to you, Troy. Tremendous work. Keep it up. Mr. Dunkley, likewise. I watch these interviews. Don't think I'm on the sideline and not paying attention. You know, and again, anything I can do to contribute to the growth of the foundation, I'm more than happy to do so.
And thank you so much, guys. And listen, it's not just me. You know, I've my board members who, you know, they work tirelessly within the last 2 years since we have put together this foundation. We have committee members, we have members, and we're looking for potential members to become members. You know, but we want to grow and we want to expand and we want to do this thing. We're not going to do this thing in the haste either, you know, because we have a group of guys who are thinkers, and we're going to think as much as possible to ensure that this thing is done right. But at the end of the day, we have a vision for this foundation and for Rusea High School, and we want to transform that school. And this is why we're here. This is why we're doing it. So I just want to thank my IT team. You know, the scenes, the Norway, the Richard, the Carly, the Gregory Malcolm. You know, you can see we were on half an hour before we get to go live on air. So I want to thank them as well, because as I said before, it's a team effort.
Yes.
And without them, we could never done this.
Yes. On behalf of the Rusea's Brosis Foundation, I just want to thank all our online viewers and, of course, those who will view after the fact. Mr. Hall, it has been truly a joy and a privilege taking this journey with you, going back and coming to this present time. It's an honor, and I applaud you. And keep up the good work, man. You have lived well, you have done well, and you are an inspiration to many. And may God continue to bless and keep you. And Mr. President, any final words you'd like to share as we close?
Support, 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 donations, donations, donations. We need to erect this change room facility at Rusea High School and more.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thanks, viewers. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful night wherever you are in the world. God bless.
Thank you too, guys. Thank you.
Take care, Mr. Hall, and say hi to your family, okay?
I will. Take
Wonderful.
care.
Take care. Have a good night, all. Take care.